Broadcasting alive from the Green Room Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates, celebrating 25 years of home and garden wisdom. Without further ado, your hosts, Josh Cary and David Bates.
Oh yeah, welcome in everybody. It's Saturday morning. It means it's time for the At Home Show. Good morning, David Bates.
Good morning, Josh Cary.
How are you today?
Well, you know what? I think I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Finding the frog hair split down the middle.
Well, that's just wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a diversion from what we normally do because I just realized we yacked the entire time and I didn't get my weather ready. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our studio audience. No, there's not an audience. They are active participants. Caroline Gant
from the mosh pit, as they were.
Good morning, guys, and we're welcome in today, and we are in preparation for. Actually, we're pretty much already there here at the At Home Show and at Bates Nursery for this second round of cold weather this week. And now that I've got the forecast up here, we'll just go with that.
Okay,
and today is Saturday. As you can see here at the Bates Nursery Station, it's 30 degrees. So it's a chilly day. I think it's talking 47 we might make today for the high. That's maybe optimistic. 21 for the overnight low. Now, if you live in a rural area, such as where Bates Nursery is, we generally subtract 5 degrees from that. So that means we'll be looking at 16 degrees out here. And for tender plants, this just in, not good. Not good for them. So we've got more of the same tomorrow, only 41 for the high. Again, 21 degrees for the forecast overnight low on Sunday night. Monday morning, we do have one more night or an early morning of cool temperatures. Monday, 54, 27. And then finally on Tuesday, things begin to moderate a bit. 60 degrees for the high, 47 for the low. So whatever that you're going to be doing, if you're going to be purchasing plants today, or if you're going to be, if you've already planted plants and they've got a lot of tender growth on them and you're a little concerned about it, this is the time you need to be acquiring your old sheets and kind of bringing those together.
The Egyptian cotton ones?
Yeah, this is not going to be the kind of weather that will kill things, but it certainly can burn back new growth on that. We have a slew of questions today on the At Home Show.
You need to quit ordering all this cold weather.
Well, we have we thought we had the order canceled, but apparently
they kept the deposit too.
Anyway, so we've got this one coming through this weekend. It's a great time to plan. It's also a good time to acquire things. But if you're going to get plants that you're in all questioned about, stick them in the garage or in the basement until
Put them on the dining room table, for pity's sake.
I wouldn't put them on. I want them in a cool but not a warm spot. I don't want them in the house. I want them in an unheated but somewhat protected area. So anyway, 30 degrees currently here. We'll look quickly at the our weather station here. We're now over 12 inches of rain, 12.31. We've had almost 3 inches of rain for the month, 2.87, and nearly an inch for the week. And so we're...
Stop that too.
So, the moisture is good with respect to... keeping the plants well hydrated, and that's an important thing during this phase of weather that we're going through. So
makes the job sites really nasty.
And I will say this additionally, that all of this has stimulated a lot of questions from a lot of our viewers and a lot of folks who are, if you're a new viewer to the show, welcome. And we appreciate your questions. And of course, I put a link out there in my newsletter every week. And we had a lot of people respond to that this week. We also have a lot, per usual, on our Instagram and Facebook pages. So we're going to dive right in because we have probably more than we can get to, even with consolidation. We probably are approaching 50 questions out there.
50.
So that's going to be tricky. I want to shut up now and say, good morning, guys. Jump on in here. Let's see what we got going on. By
Who
the way,
are they over
By the way,
there?
I already said that. Well, Tyler Blankenship's right here alongside, and he's the guy that
Was. Hey.
there he is.
Yay, there he
I did not
is.
introduce him.
I will be reciting the Google question. All of them, I guess. No,
Yes.
Google today.
Googly.
Enjoy.
So,
Google a question.
without further
The
ado,
Googly.
let's proceed with the questions. And let's just get our good mornings out of the way here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Howdy.
Great. We got good mornings out of the way. Let's start with a pine straw question. Pros and cons of pine straw versus regular mulch in beds.
It is a regular mulch.
That's just aesthetic.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's just aesthetic. I mean, some people like the look of it. Some people don't. When it comes to weed prevention, I mean, it does pretty well. It's not, a perfect solution or anything to getting all your weeds out, but it works.
Hey,
easy.
It's a mulch.
One of the pro things is it's a much easier to
Easy.
install than
Yeah.
shredded mulches. It's much lower density. So on the negative side, it doesn't have quite the ability to hold moisture such as a shredded material would. So, but it's a good choice. I use it at my house. I like the look.
It's a nice one. All right, this is a touchy subject for Austin,
Uh-oh.
so let's get it out of the way early. When to prune boxwoods and how often? I know yours don't look great right now.
Typically, when it comes to boxwood, you only have to prune them roughly once a year, and that changes a little bit later in the season. But really, you just need to get them. It depends on how picky you are about how tight your boxwoods flush. Some people get them really, really tight. Early in the spring. So we're going to go ahead and do this, pretty much now. Your boxwoods are actually starting to, some of them are starting to flush.
Some of them are not,
And some of them are not.
And I will tell you, I've got 4 actually bucks of sempervirens, just Native American
Sure you do.
boxwood at my house. I have 2 4x4s that are on either side of a portico at my house,
Gesundheit.
and one of them is pushing out new growth. The other one's dead, and they're 10 feet apart. So that's kind of the confounding nature of what we're all going to be dealing with as we go through this. It's not always clear why some things make it and sometimes things don't. So
Portico syndrome.
yeah,
That's
So
it,
maybe
Josh.
that's it.
It is.
But yeah, when it,
Portico shame.
Portico shame. That's it.
It's carport, folks.
yeah. But anyway, when it comes to pruning them right before they flush in the spring, typically, so around February time is generally the time we go in and tighten them up, and then they leaf out nice and tight for you. And they look great when they flush, or this
Not.
year they're
No,
dead.
they're
Oh,
flushed.
No, yours aren't dead.
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, let's get to some Google questions.
Okay.
All right. Switching back.
All right.
to me.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay. I bought a young ginkgo tree from y'all and planted it last year. I'm nervous with all the front it has passed on, but I am not sure when they should start budding. Just looking for some help.
Okay,
Help.
so ginkgos specifically are like one of the toughest plants in the world.
Yeah, they are one of the original trees.
Yeah.
They made it through ice ages.
Yes.
They live with dinosaurs. Like they can be through extreme cold and nothing's wrong. So look, ginkgos specifically as well have some of the fattest buds in the tree world. Like they're huge. Now, they're not going to be green yet probably, and they're not cracking leaves yet, but they are going to be substantial looking chunky buds on the stem. So if you have that right now,
It's the good
you're
bud,
probably
man.
fine.
Yep. So, all right.
Yeah.
So next.
Next.
Sorry to keep pushing
Next.
it today, but we got a lot to
Yes,
get to.
we
We
do.
want
Yeah.
everybody to feel like that they're getting their question answered.
We got a couple of acuba questions on the Google Docs, so I'm going to combine them. Our acuba leaves are very brown from the freeze, but lots of the stems are still green. Are they likely to come back higher up, or will they need to be pruned at the bottom?
Great question, and we have to wait and see. Me and Tyler and Caroline did a video this week on our little note down thing for the Instagram, and we looked at David's acuba, which we featured a long time ago whenever we first showed the deep freeze, and his acuba in the back took a shot. I mean, it looks horrible too, but he's still got a lot of green stems on his, and they are not leafing out from those stems quite yet. Now, I do think that they will. What we did notice, though, is that we pulled back a bunch of old foliage down at the base, and there's new growth coming from the roots.
Right.
So that's a good sign.
My
And-
plan is to cut them back halfway
Yeah.
for starters, and then see if they'll break out at that point, and then it may be required to go back heavier a bit later. And that's really the only reason you wouldn't prune right now is just trying to determine how far back you got to go. More often than not, you're going to have to go back fairly severe on a lot of things.
Probably are this year. And if you are seeing black stems, from the top, like down halfway, if it's black, it's not coming back from that, okay? But if you are seeing green, let's leave those green stems up, because I do think they're going to crack back from those green stems. There just still seems to be a lot of life in the stems.
Acuba are deceivingly tough plants.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Cool. All right.
Next.
Ligustrum Recurvifolium. All 3 of mine were 8 feet tall. After the Christmas freeze, the leaves are brown and completely off of 2. How long do I wait to see if it comes back before I take them out?
Being the operative word.
Yes.
Ligustrum Recurvifolium is a wax leaf privet, an evergreen type, except they're not evergreen when you have a zone 5 winter event on a zone 7 plant.
Yeah.
That means it won't be unusual for those to have to be cut back all the way to the ground.
Probably so. I think so as well.
I mean, I would start off cutting them halfway back. I'd just go ahead and do that and get that much brush out of the way on those. And it may require going further. The thing of it is, they may not come out at all. If you leave half of it up there, it's a lot easier to dig the remainder out. So take about half of it and get it out of the way, and then you can better see what may come out of it and what your next action will be.
What's funny? I have a wax leaf privet at my house that was there before I bought my home, and I just let it be just because, but whatever. And it did the same thing. It dropped every single leaf, looked horrible. So I had a great opportunity to cut it to the dirt.
Did you do it?
I did it.
Okay.
I chainsawed that thing to the ground. I didn't want it there anyway. I didn't plant it. I don't really care about a privet all that much, so I went ahead and cut it, and I'm happy. But we'll see. I bet it still comes back from the roots. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Yes.
Likely.
Yep.
All right. Here's a cool question. Are there exceptions to the rule of seeing if there's green when you scrape a stem to see if a tree or shrub is still alive?
Well, yeah, sure, there's exceptions. One of the exceptions is what color of green is it? And it can be easily deceived by scratching with a thumbnail. And you say, well, that's green. Yeah, but it's that olive looking green that's you should be seeing a very bright color of green. So if it's hard to scratch and it's kind of a drab olive color,
Like your jacket.
that's not a good sign. No, you want to see bright green, particularly at this time of year. By this time next week, where we have gotten through this cold spell and things have again warmed up, you're going to get a lot better indication. But a great many things, you're just going to have to cut them back pretty severely and then hope you don't have to go further.
Very good.
Very
Okay.
good.
And
He's
going back to... No, I was checking our YouTube feed, and I'm not seeing our YouTube broadcast up there. But I planted a few endless summer hydrangea a few years ago, and the intense morning sun is just too much for them. Thinking of replacing with panicle variety, can I dig up my endless summers and transplant them into large containers?
Most definitely. We just got this question yesterday, actually, from a guest. It's a very, very common practice to grow Macrophylla hydrangea, the endless summer collection, in pots. It's almost better, even. Like, they're a great little potted container plant. They make a tight, full show. You can kind of protect them in pots a little bit. You can just store them in your shed or garage or something over the wintertime, and don't even let them get, outside with all these horrible cold weather or whatever, and let some of those stems